Hello, hello. I'm a few minutes late. Sorry about that. I am here at the Irish American Museum, and we just finished up a tour. A group of really nice people that travel around in Airstream trailers, camping their way across America. Pretty cool. So we will go ahead and I'll get started here in just a minute. Welcome. I'm Sharon Schultz, also known as the Day Lady. Please follow me on my Facebook page, Sharon Schultz, the Day Lady, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sharon Schultz, the Day Lady, and get the latest updates and information on my tours. Also, there's a link on my pages to a platform called Buy Me a Coffee, and that is where you can support my content if you so desire. Of course, that would be greatly appreciated to keep on rocking and rolling here for sure. So let me turn this around and you can see what I see. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Turn this around. Take care. Happy travels. You're welcome. Okay. Turning the camera around here. Oh, here you go. Okay, so there she be. The Irish American Museum. These homes were built by the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad for the railroad workers that came to build the first trains in America. That's right, the railroad started here in Baltimore. The first tracks, first 13 miles of track were laid here. And yeah, so there is quite a history here. The people that lived in these homes came here during the Irish famine in 1847 or so, and started a life here and grew and left their legacy behind for all of us to enjoy. So let's go ahead and stop on in here. Hey, Sammy. Hey. Sammy's the museum director here. She's responsible for all of this. This is the community map. Let's see, turn this around here. So this is the map of the area as it was when the Feeley family lived here and when they were building the railroad. The church was the heart of the community, St. Peter's Church. There was the Hollands Market, where the women would go to collect the food and things that they needed, and they would be able to talk and gossip and catch up on news and community events and things of that nature. There were Catholic schools built for the children to attend. The nuns taught them, gave them good education. This photograph here, get a little closer to this. This is what the market would have looked like, the Holland Street Market at the time. They were all outdoor markets then. Now, not so much. Now they're interior markets. Baltimore City has 6 such markets that they run to ensure that the people in the city get to have fresh food and produce and things of that nature. So, okay, let's get this camera turned around like that. There we go. All right, so this floor talks about the work, the railroad, the men supporting their families, building a railroad, the first railroad in America, the Irish were responsible for. It's a great testament to the Irish laborers, the first railroad. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's a photograph of some of those men who came to the railroad to make a living. They built the tracks, they built the trains, the engines, all of it. There is a diagram of the boiler. Okay, the trains were steam engines, right? And the boiler is what created the steam that gave the power to the train. Here are some of the tools that the railroad workers would have used. Oh, look at this. Huh, it's heavy too. Heavy duty. And here are some more things. That. And this story here about James Feeley, Boilermaker. He was head of a family that came here for a better life. They lived in the house next door, actually, which we will go visit. And then here are more tools. So, what did the women do while the men worked? Well, the women were pretty creative as well. The Irish washerwoman. Many of the Irish women here took in wash to bring in some extra change for their families. They also were known for their Irish linen. They would sell Irish linen to some of the wealthier residents that, could afford to trim their clothing with this very delicate Irish lace. Also called tatting. This is also called tatting, the art of Irish lace making. Another thing that the community that was an important part of the community was the church. St. Peter's Catholic Church was established. This Catholic parish was established just for the railroad workers. One of the first Catholic parishes in the city is St. Patrick's, which was established over in Fells Point, where the hub of shipbuilding at the time was. So many of the Irish immigrants who came directly, not linked with famine, settled in Fells Point. So the church here is called St. Peter's the Apostle. The church still stands, but it's no longer a Catholic church, although it is a Christian church. These are artifacts from the church, statue, Infant of Prague, the window, the stained glass window is from St. Peter's. And here is a photo of the main altar in the church. I'm assuming it still looks somewhat similar. Another thing about St. Peter's is the fact that Babe Ruth, a very famous baseball player for the Baltimore Orioles, lived not too far from here, and he was baptized at St. Peter's. There's a picture of him and Father. And here is the picture of the church, and the cross on top is right over here on the wall. there. Okay, next stop. Where the Holland Street Market was the place for information and a social gathering for the women, the men had the Irish pub. Rumor has it there was an Irish pub on every corner. Not surprising, truly. After a hard day of working on the railroad, the men would gather here with their coworkers, neighbors, friends, what have you, and they would relax, have a few drinks, play a game of cards, maybe some checkers, and talk. Talk about the day's events, what issues were happening at work, what were good things coming from the railroad for its employees, what were some of the issues that needed to be resolved, that needed improvement on. And we're talking issues, community and work as well, what's going on in the neighborhood, etc. Now, this bar is, of course, upstairs here, but typically they wouldn't be in the attic. The attics in these homes were used to sleep either children or boarders if the household was set up for that. Renting rooms, renting beds to boarders was a very lucrative occupation here during the days of the railroad, as young immigrants were coming in to Baltimore. The agents from the railroad would meet the ships and recruit them right off the boat and bring them here, and they would be given a job and a bed and food and whatever else they needed. This is politics were also, of course, in the mix and discussed here. Here's a newspaper thing from the Irish Republican Army, the leaders in the May 1916 insurrection. Happened in Ireland, and it was supported by many of the Irish here in this country as well. Okay, next stop, next door. Let's go down the steps here carefully. Okay, these houses were built in 1847, and as I said, the railroad owners were very wealthy people and very connected. And they did a lot for Baltimore City for sure, with housing. The railroad also donated land for parks and recreational facilities, which was, definitely unusual for big companies, corporations to do at the time. Okay, we're going to stop out in the backyard here to the memory wall. This
Hey, oh,
Hi, how are you?
picture time, huh?
Yep.
Hey, bring that out.
So this wall, first of all, the Celtic cross and the harp that you see were hand carved by one of the board members of the museum. Now, this wall tells the tale. On the left is the situation that the Irish immigrants left back in Ireland. They lived in thatched houses, and when the crops failed, they were unable to pay their rent. They were unable to eat, and they lost their homes. And many of them boarded the ships that were coming from Ireland. Many of these immigrants were sick from lack of food before the journey began. Once they got here, they were given housing and given a start for a new life. And Baltimore was one of the luckier places in that, you know, it had the railroad, not so much in some of the other communities where Irish immigrants found themselves.
Nope. It's complicated. Thank you.
Okay. Is next door open?
I think it's bottom left.
Okay.
I can't remember if I did it or not, but out of habit, it's probably.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Okay, so we're going next door now. Now this is the home of the Feeley family. On a second here. Now the Feeleys were Irish immigrants, came here for a better life. There we go. Okay. Welcome to the Feeley home. Oh, it feels good. Okay, so let's see. This is the front room. Okay. This is where Sarah is the wife, James's wife. This is where she would welcome company, greet visitors, what have you. Maybe feed her baby, nurse her baby here in the rocking chair. She would use the spinning wheel here. Okay, she would use that if she has some yarn. Mostly the things that you find on the walls in Irish homes are either religious pictures or pictures of relatives. The blue the blue paint on the walls, that is very much a thing of the times. The blue was thought to be relaxing, so all the homes are painted with this color, this calming blue, and also as a tribute to the Blessed Virgin Mary, whose color was blue. So here you have the kitchen area. Okay, these two rooms were probably bigger than the entire house that the Feeleys lived in back in Ireland. This was a home with 6 rooms. And here you see some typical Irish food. Got tea, scones, soda bread, porridge, of course, oatmeal, and fresh fruit. Over here, Sarah's got some bacon and eggs cooking on the stove. Look at that. Now, these are wood stoves or cold stoves, either or. This stove is like a double heater kind of thing. You could, oh no, hold on. My thing just went crazy here. My gimbal is uncooperative today. So we'll fix that right now. Okay, here we go. All right, it's gimbal. There we go. All right. Try this again. Hey, there we are. All right. Okay. So over here in the side, that's where you would put the coal or the wood. And then same thing down here, that little door there under that lip. So this is typical of what you would find in an Irish kitchen. There's a chunk of corned beef. Actually, you wouldn't find that in an Irish kitchen. That is the Irish American thing. Eggs, of course. The backyard, they would have a vegetable garden. They would have chickens. If they were lucky, maybe even a cow. Okay, now upstairs. Check out the stairs, mind you. Look at this. A spiral staircase, right? Now think about this young housewife, this woman, Sarah, running up and down these stairs, a child on the hip, carrying laundry, supplies, who knows what, up and down these stairs several times a day. No wonder she was a strong, fit woman, right? Plenty of exercise. This room is set up to reference the trip here from Ireland, the things that they would have experienced on the immigrant ships. The bunks here are to scale. This is how large they would have been. And as you can see, it fits one person nicely, but that wasn't the case. This was. And this is what lent to the formation of coffin ships. So many people already half starving, weakened, some already ill, in close quarters like this, spreading disease. It was not a good situation at all. They tried to make things as good as they could for the passengers, and they passed laws to ensure that they were treated properly. But again, the circumstances were what they were, and it was not a pleasant experience. Those who did make it here, of course, were rewarded by all the benefits that came with that, especially in this area of Baltimore, where the immigrants were so welcome. There is the port that they came in here. That's the Baltimore port in the harbor. The lighthouse was built in 1851, and it was in use until 1926. But it's right across the water from Fort McHenry. Here's one of the ships. This is the ship that James Feeley arrived on in Baltimore, May 22nd, 1847. And there is the ticket, the rates. Okay, so let's see how much. Rates of passage include free passage by railway from Belfast. Okay, a cabin from Queenstown. That's in the south part of Ireland. Interesting. That's just the schedules. Doesn't really say the fare. Okay, this would be James and Sarah's bedroom. Okay. Talk about minimalistic, right? The bare minimum here. They would have had a quilt to keep them warm at night. Here are some clothing items that would have belonged to Sarah. Stockings, some pantaloons, some undergarments, a slip, a nightgown. And then here's the lovely lady herself, Sarah. And also their youngest child would have been sleeping in their bedroom, would have had a cradle just like this, maybe this very cradle actually. And the baby would sleep here. The children would be in the bedroom across the hall the one that we just saw dedicated to the passage. Here are some clothes that Sarah would typically have had, and she would hang them here. No need for closet, not too many clothes. She had a day dress, an evening dress, and a Sunday dress, and anything after that was pure luxury. Over here, we see James's clothes, few and far between compared to Sarah, right? Looks like 3 shirts, a vest, a tie, and whatever pants he's wearing. Interesting, yes? Okay. One more flight up. Now this would be where the children's bedrooms were too, or border rooms. Up here is set up as both. We've got the children's bedroom here. Now, no matter how many children, well, I shouldn't really say that, 2, 3, 4 kids would share the same bed. Notice there's one bed. However, the bed is a trundle. So there's a mattress down there that pulls out. So basically you have 2 beds. But all the kids would be in this room. And here's some of the toys the little girls would have played with. Little dolls. And let's see over here. We've got some things the boys would have liked. Remember these? Can I get it? Nope. Okay. We'll put that back. I never was very coordinated anyway. Right, what do we have here? What book is this? Life Remembrances of an Old Lutheran Minister. Oh, yay, a kid's storybook. Okay. All right, now to the borders. Oh, here's the rest of the kids' things. Their little hook for their little dresses. I wonder how many dresses little kids had, because it seems to me they wouldn't keep them clean as long as Mama would. Oh, what's we got here? Dottie Dimple and her grandmother's something. I don't know. Infant praises. Okay. And what do we have here? Oh, some tin whistles. And a couple of marbles. Oh, a bag of marbles. Cool. All right, so here you have the boarders room. All right, so you've got a double bed here. And then you've got a single bed here. And you have some trunks for the boarders to store their things. You've got some pegs for them to hang their clothes. Typically, a boarder would pay to stay here by week. What he paid could include food, meals, or not. Most of them did include meals. Some even included laundry. Now, at the railroad, of course, they have shift work. And during the day, these beds would be rented to night workers who would be sleeping here. Then in the evening, the day workers would come and 3 day workers would be sleeping here. So the beds were in use 24 hours a day, and many of the beds occupied by more than one person. Okay, so for instance, this bed would have been rented to 4 guys. And this bed over here would have been rented to 2 guys. So not a bad business, quite lucrative, I'm thinking. So there you have it. The Feeley house. Now, eventually, the Feeleys, James Feeley worked his way up to a boiler maker, which is the occupation where you're actually making the steam engine that pulls the train. And so it's of course, a not classified, a dedicated type of work for which you learn in your train. And of course, James did that. Well, eventually, as his family grew and his job opportunities grew, he was able to save money and eventually bought this house from the landlord from whom he was renting it. And so then as he did better, as he improved his work position, he was able to buy a larger house for his family just a few streets over on Arlington Road. And he ended up keeping this house and rented it, and they kept it until his death in the early 1900s. So Sarah became quite the landlord and contributed to the family's success, for sure. Over here is a photograph of the Feeley, Mr. and Mrs. Feeley, and the first three of their 6 children. Hey, Father. Again, the church was a big part of the community as well, as you can see. All right. You know what? Let me turn the camera around here where it's not so bright and I can see. Okay, here we go. Turn you around. There I am with the father here. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this tour of the Irish American Museum. It's been under several names, by the way. When I first discovered this museum a couple decades ago, it was called the Irish Shrine, and basically that's what it was. Then it became the Irish Railroad Workers Museum. And then just last summer, they changed it to the Irish American Museum. They felt that having railroad in the title limited as far as what they could include, where taking railroad out opened them up to be able to focus more on the women's occupations and things of that nature. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. It was fun for me, and I'll see you again. I have to schedule some tours. I don't believe I have any on the books at the moment, but I'll fix that this afternoon. All righty, take care. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady, and follow me on Facebook, Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady. And don't forget, buy me a coffee. I do love my coffee. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Bye.